Driven Racing Oil's GP1 Nitro 70. Trusted by top engine builders, winning racers, and devoted horsepower enthusiasts across the world, Driven takes legendary base oils such as the ones from Brantford, Pennsylvania, which comprise our GP1 line. Then, we boost that superior base oil with state-of-the-art additive packages. Driven's GP1 Nitro 70 not only provides anti-wear protection, but can shield cylinders from washout and fuel dilution caused by methanol or nitro-based fuel. Learn more about Driven Racing Oil by following us on Facebook or Instagram at Driven Racing Oil, or shop now at drivenracingoil.com.
And the chaos is live. Hello, folks. Lee Craft here, a.k.a. the Monday Morning Racer. And over there, the voice of chaos, Mr. David Rattan. This episode brought to you by Star Racer Belts. And that man himself, David, is on in just a few moments.
That's right. We're looking forward to a great conversation with a guy who finds himself not too long ago thinking he was in semi-retirement, and I think he is anything but semi-retirement now. He is wide open in a whole lot of different avenues. We'll talk about those as we make our way into the program tonight. Looking forward to getting Rob Wendland in front of this Chaos Live audience. Hey, got a chance to see him and hear from him at Tulsa up there at the CATS seminar. So a lot of folks got acquainted with him a little bit better, some quite a lot better. And but man, what a time it was. We got a chance to do our first of two Tulsa turnarounds in 2025 with the banquet and the awards being presented and the CATS seminar going on. That was quite the get together up there. It was good to see you there, and I know you had your hands full at that event as well.
Good to see you, David, there as well, and everybody in Chaos Nation at the banquet. I attended CATS, was filming that for Will Hanna, and Murph McKinney was there. My boss also on the panel. Rob Wendland had a lot of great information that he was giving out to the racers. So the CATS seminar, you can get it now on demand from what I understand. So reach out to Will Hanna. You can get that. You can watch it. It was great. Banquet was just excellent. You know, everybody involved. It was even better than last year. And I didn't know how it could be better than last year. Last year was so great, either. And it was better. It topped it. You know, just having the cars on the floor was such a cool atmosphere adder, if you will, to the whole setting. And as you mentioned that night, we've got room to grow in that room and fill it up that much more with chaos competitors, from Nitro Chaos to Funny Car Chaos, and oh yeah, this fuel altered chaos thing that's coming.
Yes, there is a lot on tap for 2025. It seems like about the time we think we've got all we can do, something else comes along, and that's going to be fuel altered chaos in Tucson in November. But before then, so much happening in the world of chaos, Funny Car Chaos and Nitro Chaos. The spy shots, you know, we talk about this, those that have been around racing for as long as some of us have, standing at the magazine rack, and you turn to the front of the magazine, whether it's Car and Driver or whether it's the drag racing publications, and you want to see what the rumors are, what the latest is on who's building what and who's coming to the races with something new to show off and see if they can set some record performances and get themselves a championship crown. And, you know, the spy shots that continue to be meanwhile in, you know, fill in the blank, and seeing all these cars, it is just about all I can do to contain my enthusiasm. Man, when we get to Ennis for that Funny Car Chaos Classic featuring Nitro Chaos, that first weekend of April, man, what are we going to see? It's a little reminiscent of how February at the Winter Nationals used to always be, man, what are we going to see? And that chaos event at the Motorplex, the Funny Car Chaos Classic, promises to have a lot of new hardware, some new teams, and some of that same old patented enthusiasm and fun factor that is a big part of what makes Chaos the brand that it has become.
we ended last year Chaos Live with some announcements of some new people coming and cars being built by none other than Ken Singleton. You've got Chuck Lofton. He's picked up his new hot rod from Murph McKinney, and they are certainly excited about that. That man actually took away a good bit of hardware from the Banquet. But, yeah, seeing those spy shots, meanwhile, wherever, and you don't have to give much. It certainly creates the buzz. I know that 157 Chevrolet bodied funny car, meanwhile in Oklahoma, that's a mean looking hot rod. And yes, who is coming with what? I believe it was today or yesterday, that the Ferris camp, the OG Ferris, is getting fitted into the other fuel alter that they have now. They're still considering what they're going to dub that machine that they picked up from Wilkerson and Hartman, but he's getting ready to get back out on the track, and they intend to bring those cars out. That camp, what are they bringing is always a question. They have a whole nitro circus over there in their own right, but that event. I said this last night on Competition Plus Power Hour, David. I understand marketing, and I understand in marketing you certainly want to pitch something, you want to build something up. But also, I think marketing, it should be reasoned and it should be grounded. Look, when Chris Graves says concerning the Funny Car Chaos Classic that it's the biggest funny car race in the world, he's not lying. That is that is the truth. And then you add on top of it Nitro Chaos, and you may very well have an event that has more nitro being spent than anywhere else. So, folks, if you want to be at the big event, it's certainly down there at the Texas Motorplex for the Funny Car Chaos Classic.
Yes, it is, and I've seen that tickets are on sale. You mentioned the meanwhile in Oklahoma, the return of one of the early adopters to the Funny Car Chaos dream, coming out of Pro Mods and getting into Funny Car, winning a couple events before stepping back for a while. Same family, different brother, coming into the world of Funny Car Chaos again with an amazing looking car. Just this past weekend, we got to see Cody Austin doing some laps, working on getting his license in the Bushwhacker AA fuel altered, as they continue pondering whether they're going to run one car or two cars in 2025. And they certainly are developing a team over there that, they've been strong as they can be for the last 3 years, just putting up amazing performances at the World Fuel Altered Nationals, in the Lone Star Forklift Outlaw Fuel Altered Association, and in Nitro Chaos. And, they're bringing it, and they're just one of so many that we get a chance to talk about and, live the dream with them as, we run around in these circles of people who are saying, why not me? And so they are building cars, putting second cars together. The revival, so to speak, is so much fun to observe and be a part of. And you and I get a chance to talk about it and share these stories with people all around the world through the various media outlets that we have, like this and like your show. And of course, at the events, man, the first weekend of April just can't get here soon enough. And we're very much looking forward to getting the group back together. Back to the Banquet. You talked about how, last year the wow factor was off the charts, and the room was so full, it's like you could hardly turn side to side without bumping into somebody. We got plenty of room there this year in the new room that we have, and I believe that we've probably already got it booked for next year. But, you just don't get a chance to experience that kind of energy, that kind of magic all that often. And so those that were there know what I'm talking about. Those were there last year and didn't get a chance to make it back, because actually life does happen. People have things they have to do, want to do, and need to do. And family certainly trumps those events like that. But, man, don't miss them if you can. Be there, experience the relationship building and the fun, because there's so much fun. And, Lee, you took pictures of everybody that came in that wanted to have their picture taken. You talking about this? Yeah, this group cleans up really well.
They do. There were some fine-looking folks, and you can tell people certainly look forward to the banquet, and it was so well done. Again, Echo, even better than last year. And I can remember Chris, the first banquet, he's like, I really don't know if we need this, and this isn't that big of a deal, and why, Bob, blah, 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 blah. Now he can't not do them. They just keep getting better and better. So, yes, great to see the CHAOS Nation together, and it's only going to continue to get better and better. And, you talk about revival. We often say, wow, we didn't know there was this many funny cars in the nation. There have been, if I remember correctly, 200 funny cars, over 200 funny cars have competed. Not just 200 drivers, 200 mechanisms, if you will, have entered and went down the drag strip in funny car chaos. Who knew there was that many, and truly a revival? And Chris and Tara, they are very gracious to hand out that Hall of Fame award for those in chaos. And we've had 2 recipients now, Jordan Ballou the first and Ronnie Young the second, certainly deserving both in their own right. But David, I've got to say, what Chris Graves and Tara Graves are doing right now, it's Hall of Fame level at like Don Garlitz's place. Give it a few more years, and what they've done and made an impact in the sport of drag racing, there's certainly a strong argument that they should be down there in Ocala.
Man, that is a very valid point. And there's one of the things that, did you really see it going this far? Well, Chris has told the story numerous times about how this, how it got started. He just decided, after looking at the money to book in a good show, why don't we just throw the invitation out there and see who shows up? Well, it hit. It was, and there's so many racers that are still racing with us, and I well remember the excitement around that first event, and it just continues to build. And getting a chance to see cars, that some of them that were cobbled together just in time for that first CHAOS event in 2017, folks like Dan Butheris and the Ombre team, Mike Buchanan, and lots of folks that were already running but didn't have a lot of places to go. Man, it was so great. And we see people like the guy we're about to talk to here in just a little bit showing up at these events, sometimes as hired guns to do some tuning, sometimes just curiosity, trying to get their curiosity itch scratched, and finding out what's going on with this chaos stuff. And people in media that you really don't even hear about all that much, and some that you hear about all the time, and they're talking about what's going on. So what Chris and Tara have created, and what we've been fortunate to be a part of, we absolutely love this family, this community that has been developed. And the reunions that happen each time the gates open and we show up to throw down, we will be enjoying that for a long time to come. All right, so our guest tonight is coming off an enormous victory to start the season in Top Fuel at the race down in Bradenton, as that team really put it together. And there's a lot more to talk about with Rob Wendland, our guest, coming up. We're going to have him on here on CHAOS Live right after the break. So stay with us. We'll be right back.
Motorsports Products is your first stop for quality safety equipment for your car or your driver. All of our safety equipment products are made in our facility in Albany, Oregon. From custom fit fire suits to racing seat belts, supercharger restraints, engine diapers, transmission blankets, and many other must-have items. Our racing history runs deep. We are racers building the finest safety equipment for racers. And we're a proud supporter of the CHAOS.
Hey, we are back, and we have got Rob Wendland with us. Rob, Man, it's good to see you, and thanks for taking some time out of your incredibly busy schedule to join us for tonight's show. Man, I can see your lips moving, but I can't hear a thing, so I'm not sure.
How about
Hey,
now?
there we go.
All right. Hey, Dave, thanks for having me. Sure appreciate being here.
Man, it was so much fun for me to sit in on a little bit of the CATS training up there that we had at Tulsa, and to see you and Murph and Dennis and all the people up there at the front of the room answering questions from some people hungry to know what you know to help them improve their program and step up their game. And I see you involved in a lot of that with your YouTube channel, and you seem to have a heart for giving back to the people that aspire to get on that big stage.
You know, I haven't figured out sometimes why crew chiefs sometimes, I don't know, want to hide all the information that they've been taught by another crew chief, you know. And so definitely I'm a giver in that aspect. You know, do we have some secrets here and there? Yeah, we do. But you know what? I've worked for a lot of great people, you know, including, you know, Austin Coyle and Mark Oswald, Brian Karate, you know, Bernie Federley, just to name a few. And they have taught me, you know, a tremendous amount throughout my career. And so it's always good for me to give that back. And, you know, and I've been around some bad stuff, you know, Eric Medlin's crash, John Force's crash and stuff like that. And whatever I can learn, man, I sure want to pass on to everybody, because I just want everybody to stay safe and just have a great time racing. And it's pretty much all I've wanted ever to do since I was a kid.
Is that right? So your love for drag racing was founded early in your life. How'd that happen?
Well, I grew up in Lawrence, Kansas, and we had an 8th mile track there in Lawrence. And, you know, one of my neighbors, they raced. And when I was a kid, my brothers would be out there as well, but my neighbor would take me out there at an early age. And I would hang out with, you know, my brothers and whoever else I could hang out there with. And Art Gefeller was another guy that was a racer that was out there in Lawrence. Tim Baxter was another guy that was out there that was a pretty famous Division 5 TAD racer, you know. And I hung out with those guys and just fell in love. And I ended up, you know, when I was 14, having a 1974 Pinto that I put a header on and a 394 barrel carb and dual point, you know, back then I think it was an Excel, you know, distributor in, and used to run that thing out there, and just that's where my passion came from an early age, and probably watching TV, you know, at an early age too, you know, like 5 and 6 and stuff like that, and seeing dragsters. I don't know, I just had this huge love. And my oldest brother, Steve, you know, he had a cool Mustang and a Torino and a GTO and all this stuff back, you know, in the late 70s and stuff. And, you know, it was just a cool time. And it was easy to fall in love with that little track out there in Lawrence, Kansas.
Man, that is cool. So a lot of blue oval in your background. And, you know, a lot of people V8 Vegas with small block Chevys in Vegas from West Texas, out where I was from, Don Hardy. I don't know how many V8 Vega kits they sold, but it was a lot. But you went big, a 390 Ford in a Pinto. How fun was that?
It was a good time, but you know, the one Pinto that I remember that came to mind, his name was Kirk Bergen, and that was my oldest brother's best friend, and he had a small block Ford in that thing, and they worked at a place called Green Pepper, and that was a pizza place there in Lawrence, Kansas. And I remember going on a couple deliveries And heck, I was probably 12 years old, they'd let me wash dishes every once in a while. I had to stand on a milk crate, and wash dishes for them every once in a while. But for that, Kurt Bergen he would take me for a ride delivering pizzas in that thing, at a very early age. So I was probably ruined definitely at an early age. Pretty much probably like Levi is going to be ruined, from Chris and Tara's son, which is my nephew.
Right.
He could be ruined as well. There's no doubt about it.
Yeah, he's going to be exposed to all kinds of cool cars, fast cars, and a lot of great people. So, talking about, there's probably a lot of Jayhawks that are remembering that pizza joint you're talking about that from back in the day. So you go from Lawrence, Kansas. Now we're going to go all the way to today, and you are celebrating a victory at Bradenton, Florida with your team, which didn't exist, just a little over a year ago. And so, you've got your YouTube channel, you're talking about putting all this stuff together, and you've actually been there, done that with a lot of things. What's it like about a year into this deal to have a 369 in the final and take home that crown in one of the most hyped up races in the country, and you guys go down there and get the job done in a big, big way?
It's still kind of surreal. I'll admit that, because, you're going up the Coletta teams and Antron Brown and, all these great Top Fuel teams that are there. But what's really cool, I started this YouTube series, like three or 4 years ago or so. And I was just showing people kind of what a crew chief does and that kind of thing, and people were really interested because, I'm not just a crew chief, but I like machining on blocks. I like building cars. I like doing all kinds of stuff. And people took a good interest to that. And I thought, man, you know what, how cool would it be to do a YouTube series where I'm building this thing, from the ground up. And of course, I didn't build this chassis, but we did, put this thing all together, and it just kind of played along, pretty cool, because people have been watching these episodes. There's 7 of them out right now, or 6 of them out right now. And it's the step-by-step process of building this car that we took to Bradenton, which was a brand new car. And, we had some different stuff in it too that we were testing. And to be able to take that thing and put that thing on the track, the very first hit, and not have an issue, it's the straightest car I've ever had. This thing is just crazy straight, and it's just really easy to tune right now. It's all subject to change, but it's pretty cool doing this series and people following, and the people on YouTube and stuff, their comments are just so nice. And there was people who came to the race because of the YouTube videos and stuff. And it was really cool. So I really want to educate the people out there of what all goes on behind, the closed doors of these race car shops, and get these people out to the racetrack, especially with CHAOS too. I mean, man, there's a lot of cool cars at CHAOS. It takes you back in time a little bit, but God, man, there's some good technology going on, and these guys are hungry to go fast.
Yes, that is very true. And we have got some of the most unique cars out there. You talk about, I never imagined, Hot Wheels cartoons. I don't know if you remember what Hot Wheels cartoons on Saturday mornings. I could not wait to watch those. And, there's a guy with a car just about like that. And he can actually literally drive it to the track and change it up just a little bit, get to the car, bring it up and do a burnout, and then go over to nitro and run down the track on nitro. Man, is
that the green wagon?
It is.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's so cool you said that, 'cause he runs a Star Racer belt too. But so he did that the hot rod deal where the drag deal, right? And he came to our parking lot there with Larry Dixon. We kind of share one of the buildings there. And I did a video on that thing, and it came in and he had it on gas, and everybody walked over to the next parking lot and they put, burnout box down, and he pulled up to the burnout box and he switched that thing over to nitro, and you could watch by the headers, the water was starting to swirl up, just going on nitro. And then he hit the gas and did this burnout. I'm like, oh my God, it was a funny car. You know what I mean? It's one of the coolest cars I've ever seen. It really is.
Yeah. Oh man, that one's got a wow factor, and it's so unexpected because we're used to coming out of the trailer. It's something that came from a clean sheet of paper, designed just to go down the racetrack. But this one, I mean, I don't know that there's another one like it, but that type of innovation, and there's plenty of innovation in Nitro Chaos and Funny Car Chaos, and innovation is one of the things that you deal with on a daily basis, trying to keep these cars at the front of the pack, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. You know, we did some things with a fuel tank just over the winter here, and you know, just by changing a couple things on it, it added 2.5 gallons to this thing, you know, and so that was pretty crazy. We needed that, and that was just one thing, you know, clutch lever things and all of that. You know, you got to have these ideas, and also you got to have the budget to be able to try some of these things too. So Shawn Reed has just been wonderful to work with. I've never met an owner driver that wants to do this so bad. I mean, he is definitely sacrificing a lot to come out here, and we get to race with him, you know what I mean? But this is his dream, and this last weekend was a huge accomplishment for him. I've never seen him so quiet, because he was still taking it in, you know, and then I think it's starting to catch up with him now, what he accomplished this last weekend. And I'm just really proud of the driver he's become. This weekend, it was just like we never was out of the car, you know, at the end of the year, and he did a hell of a job, and I'm really proud of him.
Yeah, that's one of those that will, I mean, talk about making lifetime memories. That's something that drag racing is really good for. You know, I think about that first Funny Car Chaos Classic, and growing up, seeing the magazine pictures from Orange County and Seattle with 64 funny cars and the manufacturers meet, all that kind of stuff, and thinking, man, I was born too late. I'll never see that. And then to get to announce that race, that first one was 68 funny cars. And it was like, wow, not only did it happen again, but I get to be in the booth, and all these people in chaos land are there taking it in. You know, drag racing is kind of a dream business. Sometimes it's a nightmare, but sometimes it's a dream come true. And that certainly was one of those. And you guys win down at Bradenton. I know that for Shawn and you and everybody on that team, that was one of those dream come true moments.
You know, we went up there, you know, for the first qualifier after we had tested 5 times throughout the 3-day course or whatever. And we started up in the pit. We'd burned a piston in a T5, and we chose to just kind of clean the motor out and do all this stuff. And then we waited, I think, 7 hours, right, to put this thing together and to run that night, you know. And so we waited all that time. We started up, and in the pit, the oil pressure started going down as we were warming this thing up. And I thought, man, that's just pretty weird. And so, you know, we shut it off. You pull the oil pump off, and the plunger was stuck in the oil pump, and put another pump on it. We started on gas real quick, and oil pressure went up, and we thought, man, we got this, right? Go up there for the first qualifier, nighttime, you know, it's the best conditions. We're tested for it, man. We want to throw down a 60 something, right? Goes up there, does the burnout, backs up, and it's got 50 pounds of oil pressure. And so we had to shut it off. That's the first time we've had to shut that car off in over a year. You know, when we started, so 120 laps, that was the first time that we had to shut that car off. But as a crew chief, that's really tough to do, because it still had oil pressure, you know, but you probably don't want to hit the gas like that, you know, because it's probably going to make a mess. But ended up that we had another, you know, oil pump issue again. But, you know, hindsight, we should have changed motors. We had all that time. But we should have done it. You know, we should have cleaned it out better and did a better job, but we didn't. But that's why it was testing. But it was also that first qualifier. I know that Shawn was really disappointed with that, but that's another memory. And those are the kind of memories that we always put in our bank, because I guarantee you that won't happen again. It'll have another motor in it, you know. But it was the great memories that were made there this weekend for sure.
You know, we've talked about the YouTube channel. We've talked about your new team and what you guys are doing. I love this about what you are doing, Rob, is you're taking a really active role in helping people directly and indirectly, making sure there's less nightmare and more of that dream come true going on. For people that want to perform in drag racing at a very high level, and you're doing it not only with the educational aspects, but you're also doing it with components. You know, your shirt, Star Racer belts, the evolution of that business came from failures of components. And so, you know, you build a better mousetrap, they say, and people will beat a path to your door. And I think we're seeing that happen with Star Racer belts. Can you tell us more?
Yeah, you know, Star Racer belts. I was introduced to one of my friends that worked in Ottawa, Illinois, at the Mitsubishi plant. Said, "Rob, man, we make a belt that looks just like that." And I said, "You gotta be kidding me." I said, "You know, there's only one other real competitor in the whole gig here, and that's what we have to buy. And depending on who you are, is what you got to pay for it, you know." And anyway, he's like, "Man, I could probably get you hooked up and talk to these guys." And he did, and he got me with the Japanese, and we had him out for a race. But one thing about the Japanese, they are very meticulous. They don't want to be embarrassed. They don't want to have a product that comes out and fails. And so, man, they did their homework. And over the years, it took a long time to develop it. But anyway, some of this technology, you're talking about from mistakes and things like that, but the technology that Mitsubishi has on these belts for Star Racer, they made a production mistake. And they know how to bond rubber to Kevlar and carbon. No one else does. No one else does. No one else has the technology. And that right there, that excited me because it's twice as strong as the other belt. And we proved that by we now have the whole NASCAR market. Every NASCAR that's on the track right now has a Star Racer belt on it, timing belt. And they also have drive belts on them too. We got the Toyotas, the Fords, the Chevys, and it's pretty amazing. And we've had world champions like Antron Brown, you know, Josh Hart runs them, you know, Ashley Bunch at Skaggs, they run it. It's just an amazing belt. Forgetting some other people, but yeah, Antron Brown, of course. But we're also making. We went into the motorcycle market as well. The big drive belts on the Top Fuel Harleys and stuff like that. We're making the cam belts, the blower belts for them, the main drive belts. You know, the 4-inch wide belts. We're also we're making all of those. And then we're constantly coming up with new technology to solve issues with different components. Like we're on every Monster Jam truck because they were running the other name, and they would be out in the cold, like here in the middle of the winter, and come flying into these, you know, these arenas, right? From dead cold, romping the gas and all that stuff. And they were breaking belts. And so Richard Midger got a hold of me. He's like, "Rob, you guys think you can fix this issue?" And I go, "You betcha." And so now that's all they run on all their monster trucks. And it's just for the fact, if you want to talk about abuse, put it in dirt and mud and then rev it up and down, jumping backwards, back, you name it, from cold to hot. That's the test. And those guys, man, they love those belts. They'll wear pulleys out before they actually wear the belt out.
That is incredible. And just that bit of perspective right there, you know, it's one thing to have a belt on an 11,000 horsepower Top Fuel engine. I mean, it takes some major abuse, but it's not like running it through the mud for 20 minutes at a time. It's insane.
Like, man, they're rough on stuff. Let me tell you, they are, you know, and the thing is that we've saved them a bunch of money, you know, and here, and I'll be that over the last 3 years, you know, we've seen everything go up in price, everything, you know, our building, it costs more to be there. The employees I have, it costs more to be there. The insurance, it costs more to be there. But, you know, we have stuck to holding our belt prices where they're at. And the only reason why I've done that, and believe me, it's hurt the bottom line, is to just give something back to the racers. I'm a racer. I know what it's like. I mean, when I go and buy valve train components, or if I buy anything that's on this thing, pistons, all that stuff, everything has seen like a 20% increase, in the last 2 years. And so we're holding off as long as we can to keep these prices down for everybody. And matter of fact, even with the CHAOS stuff, like I told them in the CATS seminar and stuff, I told them, I'm like, guess what? If you're going to buy directly from Star Racer, we're going to give you a sponsorship. You get a sponsorship, and that sponsorship is 10% off of this belt. And that's what we can give to you. And hopefully they'll maybe put a decal on the car for me or something like that and brag about how good these belts are. But that's a racer mentality, not a businessman mentality there. That's a racer mentality selling blower belts, that's for sure.
Well, that, mention CHAOS, get a 10% discount. The price hasn't gone up. Saving money. You got to save money wherever you can, but you can pay too little. You want the best product in the market, regardless of what it costs, and you've certainly got that. But to have somebody that's willing to be that person that's helping the teams, get the best bang for the buck, man, I know our racers appreciate that, and we certainly do in the CHAOS organization. Hey, after a while of doing what you do successfully for so long, you gain experience, you gain know-how, and you gain the Rolodex. Some people don't even know what a Rolodex is, but you do. And, to take advantage of some serious synergy and becoming involved through the seminars like CATS, through the interaction that you have on your YouTube channel, and seeing you at the races because maybe the door was open through something like that. That type of synergy allows some of these new racers that we have in the world of CHAOS, and even some people that have been doing it for a while, but you know how we are. Sometimes we're afraid to ask because we don't want to look ignorant. Well, don't choose to stay that way. You've got the Rolodex, you've got the experience, you've seen a lot of stuff go right, you've seen a few things go wrong. And so for someone to reach out to you and get the opportunity to capitalize on some of the experience that you've got, that's a big part of being a successful racer, is it not?
100%. And then, when Chris and Will asked me to come to the CATS seminar and help out, I went down there free of charge. I went down on my own dime, and just to help them, because I also told them, they wanted to know if, they had a way of testing the shutoff that's on the tracks at the CHAOS events. And I stepped up and told Chris and them, I'm going to buy you guys the device to be able to test these cars in the pit to make sure that some of the safety stuff is going to work. So that's the dedication that I have and Star Racer does to the CHAOS events to help these guys out. So, I mean, I don't know. I didn't have anybody when I was real young probably take me under their wing and show me a lot of stuff. I learned a lot of things the hard way, but there were some people like Donnie Cornbrust and Tim Baxter and Bob Baxter and Don Baxter, all these guys that took me in and did teach me a lot. And that was a lot of years ago. That's back in the late 80s and stuff. So it's makes me feel good as a human to be able to give some of that back to a lot of these racers some of them that are just coming out, and some have been out here long as I have, But man, I tell you, it was a real pleasure to be at the CATS seminar, and I totally enjoy making the YouTube videos for everybody to maybe just catch one thing that they didn't know, and then maybe apply that to their race program, or even just maybe their old hot rod they're building at home.
Man, that is so rich. What you just talked about there is, because let's face it, what we would love to have, we love this sport. There is just something about it that absolutely keeps you going. And I know you're 90-0 from sun up till past sundown, as evidenced by the fact that you're still on this show tonight. And but we would love to have some people catch that vision, catch that dream, catch that bug. Some people say catch that disease, but to expand the sport so that it can go on, and people can, you talk about the ability for parts to last so much longer than they used to. That's because they broke stuff. You keep breaking it and you get it stronger till you can't break stuff. Well, we never have got that point yet because stuff still breaks. But oh my goodness, the dividends that are paid by having things that work so much better and for so much longer. And by you sharing the information that you do and helping people get their racing program underway, it just helps us expand the sport. And in a sense, that's one of the things that CHAOS does. Here's a place to learn. It's not the beginner level by any stretch of the imagination, and it is a good step on the way to however big you want to go with this deal.
100%. And one of my goals is to keep it safe, and Nitro Chaos and Funny Car Chaos stuff. It's no rules and all that stuff, but the biggest things in the back of Chris and Tara's mind is making sure that everyone is safe, but they don't want to force a bunch of stuff down everyone's throat, but on the other hand, man, they want to keep everybody safe too. So if I can add to that safety in any way, and that's me showing up to the Cats or whatever, and I'm going to try and talk to my best buddy, Chris Newton, make him see if we can fly down again to the Ennis event, in April, because that's our weekend off from racing, and see if we can come down there and just help out anybody that we can, if anybody's got any questions and stuff, and just hang out and watch all the cool cars. I don't know if you knew it, but 2 years ago, my brother Kevin, he had that 5.0 front engine dragster deal class, and he says, "Hey Rob, you want to drive this thing?" When I showed up there, and I'm like, "Heck yeah, I'll drive this thing." I've never drove a front engine deal like that, and I never drove anything with a trans brake. Well, the first time I let off the button, I think I pressed it back in again and let off the gas, and I did all kinds of crazy stuff, but come back and he gave me a quick little lesson. I went back up there and I had to run Dusty Rose, I guess, was one of the champions on that deal. I beat him, and then I had another guy and I treed him, but he got me on the other line. But man, I had a blast at that event, and not only just driving it, but just looking at all the cool cars, man. I mean, I'm a racer too, right? And I think I got one of the coolest cars in the world, right? One of the fastest ones for sure. But man, do I like going there and just checking out all the old cars and how people still do things and stuff. And it's a great event. I really do love it.
Yeah, we do too. And it's, coming up again, we'll have those classes there. That's the TDRA. We'll also have the Dirty South Gassers, and that's another bushel basket of cool right there.
It is.
Oh,
man.
wow.
It is really cool. Yep.
Yeah. Well, I know you're looking forward to that, and we're looking forward to having you there. What else is on the horizon here for 2025 for Rob Wendland and company?
Well, we're getting prepared to go to Gainesville, on the NHRA road. What's cool about Gainesville is they actually provide a couple of days of testing at the same racetrack that you're going to be racing on Friday, right? So they usually don't do that, but they are doing it again this year. Last year we showed up, right? We hadn't even started the car yet, and we were still putting screwdrivers in drawers and assembling cylinder heads and just doing all kinds of crazy crap. I never worked so much in my life. But anyway, we showed up there and we thought, cool, we're going to be able to test on Wednesday. Well, we made a third of I think we were in the gas for 2 seconds, shut it off, came back, and it rained. And so then NHRA ran out of propane, and then just all kinds of things happened. So we had to show up, the first qualifier with an untested car, and then we went 79 out of the box. So it was pretty cool. But so this year, man, we're looking so much better. We got a damn win under our belt right now already this year, and we hadn't even started racing. So we're feeling pretty confident. And then, but there's nobody around that pit though that's got a big head or nothing. They're all just a great bunch of guys. We got 3 new guys this year, and we lost a couple of them to Brittany's car, and but we got I think what we lost, we gained twice-fold. God works in mysterious ways sometimes, but man, I just got a great bunch of guys, including Ryan Elliott, and Ed Tyler, Tuna. Everybody knows him as Tuna. Helping lead these guys, these young guys. I got a kid that's been with me since he's really been 12 years old, and Josh Scott, he was 12 and all he wanted to do is clean parts and help us out. And his family's been a part of, when we were at Terry McMillan's, but that kid was there almost all the races helping out. And now he's on his second year on our top field team, working underneath me. And I mean, for a 20-year-old kid, this kid's pretty damn good. And we got Gabe Templeton. He came in from UNOH and does my blowers. I don't think he ever wants to leave the blowers ever. And he's probably one of the best blower builders that I've ever had. And it's his second year, And so, but we got Davey came over from Tasca's car. We got Shawn that came over from Tony Schumacher's car. And we've got a guy, we call him Grenade, Eric. He came in from, he worked on some super stocker stuff, I think, but he went to Lowe's for a while and sold shingles, right? So we brought him back out, and he's doing my cylinder heads, and man, he has just stepped up to the game. And so we got Austin Horde too. He's back the second year as our clutch assistant, and he's doing a great job. Everybody is just really starting to gel just after that first race. But what really helps is a win. That helps the most, right? Yeah. But these guys did a great job all weekend. I'm very proud to have them.
You got to have some of those win lights. And then when you turn on that last win light of the race, that's when it really settles in that, man, all that work, because it's a lot. It's especially a lot of work on race days. You keep going rounds, but it doesn't stop there. You load up and you go and you get ready for the next one. But boy, that good feeling, there's nothing that helps a team more than winning. And because finally it paid off, and you guys are going into the NHRA season, with that first win already under your belt. And man, you talk about a shot heard around the world. That was one. And cool. Everybody's on notice that you guys are somebody to watch out for.
Last year we just had the worst luck. I'm telling you, we lost, I think, 7 races by 0.02 of a second at over 300 miles an hour. You know what I mean? It's yeah. And Shawn did a great job driving it. Sometimes somebody was just a little bit better, or it was the crew chief. I just didn't quite have that extra, right? And it happened a lot first round. And it's man, it was rough for a while. But the guys all kept their noses clean, and we just kept on trucking, man. We know that we said, man, it's got to turn around sometime. And man, it did. And so it's is a damn good blessing. And I got a bunch of God-fearing guys with me on this team too, so we're all gelling like that as well. And it's just times are great. We're always still looking for money though, man. We're burning up Shawn's money. We're burning up his retirement. This is his retirement. And he's like, you know what, Rob? He goes, I'm not getting any younger, and I've always wanted to do this full time on myself, blah, blah, blah. And he goes, so I'm going to do it. And when he first approached me, I'm like, oh yeah, okay, I've heard this shit before, okay, all right, whatever. And pretty soon he's like, we starting to order blocks, and he's starting to order this and this and that. I go, I guess this guy's getting serious. So we sat down and came up with a game plan, and man, he's been solid, ever since then. He's a little funny sometimes, but we keep him in check.
Yeah, I think we all are a little funny every now and then. I tell you, the confidence that you've got in your team, that's reflected in the fact that I don't think you left anything on the table for that final round going under 370, which is not something that happens very often, but you guys did it. So, I mean, you were swinging and definitely felt some confidence.
Good, educated swings.
Right.
But I will tell you this. I've never ran a dragster since alcohol without the side canards on it. And I don't know if you know this or not, but we were having some tire issues there in Bradenton. And, the top corners of these tires were coming apart. And so there were a couple of teams that had tested there without canards on them. And Brian Husen was one of them. with the Coletta bunch, and then also Mike Green with Justin Ashley's car. They made a couple runs without the side canards on, and they ran fine, And so in the semis, the track temp was still 106, 107 degrees, so it wasn't like it was cold. Right. And we came back after that run, and we had some tire problems. And Brian Husen came into the lounge there, and he says, "Hey, Rob, do you want to run our side pods that don't have side pieces that eliminate these canards?" And I'm like, "Hell yeah, sure." So here we are before the final round, and so Josh Hart did the same thing. They got provided a set of these too, and our car, of course, was different from what they had. So we were beating on these things and drilling holes and doing all kinds of crazy stuff, trying to relieve a little bit of downforce on these tires so that they would look better, And so we weren't going to be in a situation where, we got a tire coming off this thing. And I think, Bradenton is not a fact of how the track was prepped, but that is a radial tire track as well. And man, do they really put the glue down on them things. And so there must be some effect to that. Like it's pretty darn tacky, right? And so it tries to pull those Goodyears, those big giant Goodyears apart. So anyway, so we ran the final, 2 cars, the first time they've ever competed, and I don't know, probably 15 years without canards, and probably not good for sponsors because we got big old sponsor names on the side of those things too, right? And so here we go. We shot those things down through there. I mean, it was just straight as a string. And guess what? The tires were junk on the other end too. So it didn't fix it. But, we did put a little wing in it. So maybe a little less wing without those on. Maybe that would have done something. But, here we are making these, you talk about these big swings and stuff like that. That was probably as big a swing as, taking 1,000 pounds of downforce off one of these things and then going ahead and sending it down through there in the dark of the night. So, that was a pretty good swing.
Wow. Boy, this has been so much fun. I said thank you when you came on, and I want to thank you again. I know that the folks out there in Chaos Nation, I'm sure they're making plenty of comments out there for Rob. Thank you so much for coming on. What a privilege to get some of this great inside drag racing information that you just shared. Your generosity with our racers at Star Racer Belt as you guys continue to lead the field in better performance parts. Thanks again, man, for being a part of it. We can't wait to see you at the Classic.
Yeah, I sure appreciate you guys having me. And it's just it's as much of a privilege as mine to be here talking with you, David, because, man, I love racing. And I got great family with Chris and Tara, and I'm just so proud of them of what they've done with this series. And I just want to see it keep growing and giving everybody a place to race. Here it is. It's like the budget level of where you want to race at, what you can race with. But guess what? You're still racing. And that's what keeps driving me. And if I wasn't, top fuel racing, I'd be doing whatever. It doesn't matter. If it has a race car, or wheels, that's me. We'll be out there after it.
Yep. Oh, wow. This has been fun. We look forward to seeing you. Thank you again for being a part of tonight's show.
You betcha. Glad to be here.
Hey, we are going to be coming back for our final segment. What a great time talking with Rob Wendland. I don't know if it was your first time to get a chance to hear from him. Probably not. This was my first time to get a chance to talk with him extensively, and what a treat. So hang in there. We'll be right back for our final segment on Chaos Live.
Check out Twisted Shifters for the largest selection of made in the USA custom shift knobs and adapters. Made for muscle cars, old and new, hot rods to race cars, and for the big rigs. With our original shift toppers adapter for the air shifters to use any threaded shift knob like the old days. Add custom lettering and logos to make it your own custom shift knob. TwistedShifters.com. We are made in America and we ship worldwide. What can 360 Steel do for you? We make custom steel products made right here in Illinois. Fire pits of all kinds, knockdown styles to take along anywhere. Hold your drinks high with our drink stands while throwing horseshoes or bags. We have a complete line of military to firefighter signs, flags, hats, stickers, and more, along with many styles of decor. Welcome signs and custom clocks to a number of different monograms and signs. Personalized, custom options for your perfect sign. Bare steel or powder coated to last indoors and outdoors. 360steel.com. Spell it out. 360steel.com.
And we are back. Lee, what a blast that was, spending some time with Rob.
Great conversation there with Rob, and many have echoed in the comment section that brought a wealth of knowledge there at the CAT seminar. And what a great conversation. Interesting. Pinto really fueled it all. And I could see a Ford theme through there too. That's
there
good
was.
to hear. Yeah. Yes. And by the way, folks, if you want to find his YouTube channel, just search on YouTube Rob Wendland. His name, 2 words, Rob Wendland. It will pop up. Hit that subscribe button for him and dive into those videos in the comment section on YouTube.
Oh, it's the first thing that comes up. It hits right now, and I mean, you could camp out for a whole weekend or longer, checking out all the information on putting that car together. What a trip to get a chance to spend some time with him tonight. Uncle Rob, as Levi would say, certainly one of the good guys.
Absolutely. And it is great to see in the sport people still getting it done and able to hear success from some different names. He is absolutely right. Shawn Reed last year had a high-performing car, but as one announcer says, it's a right time, right place kind of sport, and they were wrong time, wrong place kind of sport, because there were many times last year, if they were just in one other pair, they would have been turning on a win light instead of having no light in their lane. So very good to see that final round there at the Pro Superstar Shootout. Overall, Josh Hart and Shawn Reed, I think that bodes well for what we might very well see in competition at that level of the sport. And like we talking about earlier, the competition is going to continue to step up in CHAOS. It does that each and every year. I mean, David, when we went into the last race of the year for Funny Car CHAOS, what was it? 7 had a mathematical chance or some ridiculous number like that, with all the scenarios that could play out for someone to be crowned Funny Car CHAOS champion.
And it was so close in Nitro CHAOS. And when you come down to the last race of the season, it's not a foregone conclusion. Nitro CHAOS, the champion was crowned early in that event, but several came in with a chance. So if there were any slip-ups, it was definitely not a foregone conclusion. But oh my, the closeness of the competition, these 8-car fields, and having them separated by performance, the quick 8 versus the next 8 versus the next 8, and so forth, as many cars as you've got, it creates such a great situation for the fans, because racing teams are rewarded by A, showing up, and B, making 3 qualifying runs, because if you're going to contend for a championship, you better be on the track, not in the pits. And but to see the level of competition, the intensity, it's what racing's all about. And it is so much fun from where I sit, from where you stand and run, really, and where from the spectators stand and sit. It brings us just a special brand of magic that is exactly why we got hooked on racing when we did. It is not any different in terms of, it just might be a little more professional than it was way back in the day, and it is so great to see.
Yes, it is. And you mentioned Nitro CHAOS. Joey just didn't have that championship handed to him, I think, by the end of the tally. And you look at John Umlauf, where he finished and what he was able to do in that last race. Well, what if Joey doesn't qualify as well? What if Joey, doesn't collect all the points possible. John was right there and someone that's just, absolutely snuck up to his place in the points, because we really didn't have our eyes on him like we really should have, but he got there and definitely is going to be a force to be reckoned with mass chaos in chaos.
Yeah, that is true. With 4 or 5 races in a series, what can happen in a single event can change the entire complexion of the whole season. And, mass chaos and our friends out of Rolla, Missouri, they very definitely showed what can happen with their stout performances all through the year. You get those, you make all the qualifying runs, get yourself up in the top half of the field at least, most of the time, and you put a few semifinals. And, Gary won the championship in the first season of Nitro Chaos with that Grand Prix Auto Sports dragster. He was never the victor of any of the races. However, semifinal all the time, runner up, time or two, and the points get you there. And so it is right down to the wire, to the last. That keeps it extremely interesting and extremely fun.
Does.
You had an honor presented to you there at the banquet there with one of the CHAOS Superstar Awards. You and Brad Thompson were taking away those. Yep, there he is right there, Monday Morning Racer. You very rarely get a chance to see the Monday Morning Racers sitting down, except after the race is over. Right. Neither do you get a chance to see Brad Thompson doing a lot of sitting around, because he's head of safety with CHAOS, and he's a lot of times suited and booted and ready to make sure that everybody gets off the track safely. But those two fine gentlemen were presented with awards as CHAOS Superstars at the banquet, and certainly very richly deserved for both of you gentlemen. Lee, I tell you all the time, what you do is so appreciated, and I know that everybody feels the same way about Brad Thompson and what he does. It doesn't take but one bad incident to really put a damper on an entire racing series. And Brad certainly does everything in his power to make sure that happens. And also, you want to have more coverage and more good coverage to promote your event, and you are certainly the master of that. So well deserved, my friend.
Well, I appreciate that, David, and certainly honored to receive such recognition. And Chris and Tara have given me a place to stretch talents and abilities and have them showcased. And they are certainly people that, no matter what may come in what I do in this realm, I've always got to point back to Chris and Tara and them allowing me to be a part of CHAOS. And it is so cool to tell the stories of CHAOS, with it being unique in drag racing, to therefore share unique stories in the sport and get it out. And then, on Brad, I'm there at the top end at the end of the races, and I get to watch what he does. And I'm also kind of running or rolling down to some emergency to try to get there and see what has happened after the fact and put it on camera. And he does his job tremendously well. That top end is ran very efficiently and orchestrated very well. It is impressive to watch him and do what he does for CHAOS.
Definitely got the right people in the right places, and we're excited for that. Also, some of the awards, we'll kind of make a run through these awards, and we'll put a special highlight on a couple there at the end. Best appearing car in Funny Car CHAOS, of course, with that 1995 car, the Western Auto car in Funny Car. Wayne Hoffman took away the Best Appearing Car award. And over in Nitro CHAOS, Mitch King with his Bone Bucket, that incredible machine. It's been around a while, and there's not another car that looks like it. Yeah, if you strip it down to the frame rails, they all look something alike. But Mitch King's Best Appearing Car in Nitro CHAOS. Best Appearing Crew with the total package. You don't have to look very hard to know that they are ate up with funny cars over there in Northwest Mississippi. Michael Neal and the Burnin' Love team getting the best appearing crew in Funny Car Chaos. And in Nitro Chaos, the 2023 champion Nitro Chaos, best appearing crew, Gary Wheeler in the Auto Grand Prix Auto Sports Dragster. The crew chief for the year in Funny Car Chaos, Ken Singleton, well deserved, and crew chief of the year in Nitro Chaos, Mike Kern with the Nimrod team, and he received a great deal of recognition at the banquet. Most chaotic funny car, Jordan Ballou, after his wild trip to Maryland, and most chaotic Nitro Chaos competitor, Anthony Whitfield. Of course, that amazing crash up there at Mocan Dragway. And moving on up in funny car, we talked about this. Chuck Lofton has got his funny car from Murph McKinney's shop, so they're coming at us in 2025 with brand new chassis underneath that Nitro Psycho Firebird funny car. And in Nitro Chaos, moving on up after a great year, taking the wheel in a slingshot dragster, Jake Sanders got the Moving On Up award. Rookie of the Year in Funny Car Chaos, well deserved for Colin and Jennifer Thomas from Colorado. And the Rookie of the Year in Nitro Chaos, guy's been around a long time but never drove a nitro car before this year, and boy did he do well. Of course, I'm talking about Wade Pennington. And we had the Hall of Fame award presented to one of the legends that's been a legend for years and years, and exactly the right man was presented with a Hall of Fame award. And of course, that the Blue Max team, Ronnie Young. The bloodline is true, from Harry Schmidt to Raymond Beadle to Ronnie Young. And a very popular win. As soon as the conversation got to the point that the name Blue Max was mentioned, yes, the crowd was like knowing who we were talking about. And Ronnie Young began to make his way to the stage for a very well-deserved Hall of Fame induction there at the banquet there in Tulsa at the Hard Rock. And then the most prestigious award of Chaos, the Randy Renew Award, going to someone who helps things happen in a big, big way. And there's an awful lot that has to happen to have a show go off on time, to have things go the way that you want them to do, so that the spectators are enjoying themselves, the racers are enjoying themselves, everybody gets enough time but not too much time. That's those broad shoulders of Bubba Corzine is a big reason that happens in the Chaos world. So the Randy Renew Award going to Bubba Corzine, and also a very, very popular win for Mr. Corzine. But a great time had up at the banquet, and it's not long before we move on to whatever's next. And whatever's next on our agenda will be another Chaos Live or two between now and the Classic. But the first time on the track is going to be the first weekend of April. We'll have some testing. The schedule has been posted, and keep your eyes on the social media pages, whether it's our Facebook page, whether it's the website. All the information will be continually added to. And watch for a few more good things. Talking to Chris, he is working on something that you are really going to love. Doesn't especially have anything to do with Funny Car Chaos Classic, but it has to do with one of the big parts of our Chaos family. And so keep your eyes open for news from Chaos World Headquarters. Some good things are coming. There's lots of good things coming, but one thing in particular that you're going to really enjoy. Well, Lee, that is most of what I've got for tonight, and I hope we've had a good crowd watching as Rob got a chance to open up and share, and as we bring everybody up to date on what happened up at the Hard Rock Casino and Hotel there in Catoosa, and we are very much looking forward to another trip up there at the end of April, but it's not long before it's going to be cranked up. And we're going to be rolling, going to be wondering where the days are going as we have so much going on, Lee.
great banquet, and it really gives us a great period on 2024, but it gives us that great starting point into 2025. And something that CHAOS with Chris and Tara and everyone involved has continued to do is each and every year it steps up just a bit. And 2025 is going to be no different. The impact in the world of drag racing, well, it will be chaotic.
That it will. That it will. So for all of us in CHAOS Nation, we appreciate you being a part of this particular episode. We've had a great time talking and learning and sharing and experiencing some of the good things that keep us all coming back. At the banquet there with everybody, and some folks in tuxedos, some folks in suits, not a lot of black t-shirts and shorts at this deal. Occasionally a pair of flip-flops, maybe one. But anyway, I got a chance to, people get a chance to drag out some pretty cool clothes. I wound up getting up there without a tie. I wound up going and finding a fine men's store there in the Tulsa area so I could put something together and look presentable. Had a belt. Got a chance to show that to Amy Smith, and she said, "You got a little backup girl in you. Got a lot of sparkle in that deal." Not a whole lot of folks got to see that. But anyway, we are anticipating a phenomenal 2025. You're part of it, and we're excited that you are. So whatever you do, be kind, be well, be awesome, and we'll see you next time on CHAOS Live. Good night, everybody.